Hello and welcome once again. In this video, we're going to be talking about gap year. It's kind of a growing movement, maybe even some kids being encouraged to take a gap year from high school to college. Well, how can that help them prepare for college? That is what we'll be talking about in this video. All right, why are people taking a gap year? Why are people being encouraged? There's really 5 things we'll be talking about. One of them is the maturity of the student. That can factor in. Academic readiness may be part of that decision making. Career readiness and kind of goal setting and how that factors in. And there's a financial component. We can't really talk about this without discussing that piece. And this global kind of awareness and personal growth and this kind of exploration of the world, what's out there. So we'll be talking about all those things in this video. One of the reasons that people often kind of recommend a gap year to a student, or a student might say it themselves, is that they don't feel ready emotionally, right? Don't feel mature enough. And there's lots of reasons for that, but that could be a very valid and good reason. In fact, there's a study that was done that showed that students who do take that gap year develop higher levels of self-efficacy or self-esteem. They have more confidence after that gap year going into college. So in other words, if they'd gone into college, right, the amount of self-esteem that they had coming out of high school, that sort of level of test that they take was at a certain level. At the end of the gap year is higher. So now going into college, they're actually more ready because they've done whatever it is during that gap year that's helped them build their self-confidence and their self-esteem. So that's a very valid reason. You are going to be more likely to get through college and succeed in college if you're confident about your abilities in going in. You have some of that maturity to understand what to expect and the stressors. So how you spend that gap year, though, is something you would really want to be thinking about so that you really take good advantage of that time to really develop that kind of preparedness that you want going into college. But one reason that some kids choose to take a gap year is they're kind of burnt out from high school. All the academics, they put a lot of pressure on themselves, pressure was put on them, what have you, and they need a break. Mentally, they need a break. If you think about it, going from K to 12, especially if you're a highly driven academic person, it's possible that you might feel that burnout. So in that scenario, these kids begin to figure out a plan so they don't just kind of drop off the face of the earth. There's actually kind of a plan behind this gap year, a structured gap year. And when they do structure it, when they do develop a plan, research shows that they're much more ready and successful going into college. Many kids, when they go into college with this high pressure, high stress, they don't make it through that freshman year. They kind of burn out and kind of fall away. For those who have a structured plan in place, whether it's work, maybe it's work and taking some courses to kind of keep their academics. They begin to try to figure out what it is they really like, taking a little bit of a breather. Those kids will then tend to do better when they go into school because they put a plan in place, they followed it, and they begin to experience, again, maybe some college classes that they're taking a little bit at a time, along with work experience, but they're using that as a growing opportunity. So kind of going right along with what we just talked about with that academic piece is career readiness, or not so much readiness, but you're trying on some different things. So during this gap year, maybe you've been able to arrange an internship working with a particular business and you're getting a feel for what it's like to work in this industry or for a company. And that experience where you begin to see some different roles and jobs, and you've got maybe a different sense of what is possible, can help you when you do go to college say, oh, this is something I saw in this company or this business that I would really like to pursue. I need this degree. And you're more likely then to stay within their chosen major than what students who just come right out of high school. Most students who come right out of high school end up changing majors or changing their path uh, at least once, if not more than once. That happened to me. When I came out of high school, I thought I was going to be taking engineering. I didn't get into the school's engineering program I wanted to go right off, so I went to another local university, just the not the flagship one, but I was taking physics and calculus with the intent of getting my grades up and doing much better in those to then transfer back to the flagship station that was at a premium engineering program. Well, after my freshman year and some of the struggles I had, I changed direction. I didn't do so well in physics and calculus. Began to think, oh, maybe that's not for me. I don't know that I really would like doing that. Loved economics, and that ended up becoming my major, right? Some students can do a gap year to, I'll give you another example. So LL Bean is a big company that's not far from where I live. And a student who started working there in high school, summertime, kept working there right after high school, but began to try. There's lots of different opportunities in that company. So working in the warehouse, answering phones, stocking floors. They got to see the retail, got to see different avenues, and began to realize that, oh, product development, that's fascinating. What do I need to do to be able to do that? And that drove, once they went to college, that drove their major, and actually they ended up going right back to work for that company. So another reason people take a gap year is to work. They work so they can save money. They can put that money towards college. If you think about the story, right, the great classic movie, It's a Wonderful Life, Jimmy Stewart's character. Back in those days, what did he do? He was taking a gap year. He's working for his dad in the building and loan, right? And he's saving money. Well, he took more than a gap year. He saved his money for 4 years so he could then go pay for college, no debt, right? Well, that different times and all, but people still want to think about doing that. They're going to go and save much money as they can so they at least don't have as much debt. So that financial responsibility. The other thing it does is it gives you a sense of what it's like to have to earn money, how much you really need to earn to live on, particularly if your family helps you out by maybe charging a little bit of rent to stay at home, so you can begin to understand what that would do. What about getting cars and some of those sort of responsibilities? You can begin to understand how much you need to earn. All that can help direct you when you get into college, some of the self-discipline, but all of that will help prepare you for college once you decided to go. One way that kids do a gap year, this is kind of what I think a lot of people think of in terms of gap year, is use it to travel. So they'll go Europe and youth hostels and backpacking and go to Southeast Asia, what have you. They travel. They go around the world to travel, to see the world. And that independence of doing that, right? Planning out the trip, figuring out how you're going to do that, how it's going to cost, what you're going to do to earn money when you're there, all those kind of things. And then experiencing other cultures, meeting new people, all those, when you come back, help you be much better prepared for doing well in college. One of my oldest son's good high school friends, he traveled all over. He's done some really wild trips. And when he did, whether it was South America or Europe or the Far East, and spent some time there, he came back with a new world kind of global perspective, did well in college, and had all those experiences and stories that just he brought with him and made him just a much better prepared and much better student in college. So we've just come to the end of yet another video. And once again, my call to you to please subscribe to the channel. And you might want to check out, amongst all the videos I have, the video, do military schools prepare you for college? Found that interesting question. Love doing that video. So check that one out today, and I will see you in the next one.